Finally moving along, we move to monster changes. Now, monster changes, kind of a mixed bag. In my opinion, generally speaking, monster changes would be theoretically good. However, as we can see, the obvious dynamic is that there is some nuance here. So, just looking through here, let's say we have monsters now have increased toughness per essence modifier effect. Let's say this is good. Why? Because even though it is based, right, it is based on an element here of, hey, we're tweaking the numbers, right? The actual experience of the game is adjusted for the player because the essence modifier that affects them, that the player can see, that the experience of playing the game can be manipulated by this, right? This is not just a simple, oh, the item is now this power level, or the item is now this this tough, or this ability on this item now has this amount of numbers changed or not, buffed or nerfed. This is mechanic based update. Fine. Added a small delay. Before monsters released from essence monoliths can use their skills. I'm gonna leave that one green, but again, it's balancing change. I'm not a fan, but it's okay. Forsaken miners now throw less grenades and their damage reduced and their visuals improved. I will give this one green for throw less grenade, which is a added change, and their visuals improved. I will take away a point for damage reducing. However, because of these two, it's 2 versus 1. It's an overall win. Grenades now deal less damage in cruel maps. I do not care. Neither should you. Finish the game. Reduced how far away from Faradon Plague Bringers can use their detonate skill from the telegraphing for this skill has been improved. Okay, this is a -1/+1. We're going to add that as a green just because kindness. Reduced how far away, blah, 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 blah. Meteor skills. Okay, again, -1/+1. Lightning Storm skill used by Lost Men Zealots should always strike telegraph marker as opposed to somewhere random. Oh my god, yes. Great change. Great change. Filthy Crow no longer uses their projectile vomit skill point blank in front of you because that's just rude and has a basic projectile attack. We're adding content and we're taking away content. So, I don't care. Reduce the leap distance of these guys. The visual of the skill has been improved. Okay. Axe throwing distance. Nobody cares. Finish the game. Okay, again, this is neutral for me. I'm like right on the edge. Like we are adding, we are adding and subtracting like plus 0.001 minus 0.001. Give us a new playable class. Like, what are we even talking about? So reduce the area effect of the death explosion. The visibility has also been improved. Again, it's the visibility that improved that does it for me. Deals less damage, can no longer be used point blank in front of you. I'm gonna say this is bad. Finish the game. Justin, because again, I say that as a tagline because it's like you're not finishing the game, you're doing that. You're not adding another story beat, a quest line, something to do in the game. You're doing this. This is conflicted on this, but I'm gonna stick by that one. Adjusted the damage area of bloated Miller Slam to more closely match the visuals. More closely matching the visuals is important. That's huge. More closely match the visuals. Targeting behavior. Okay, no longer targetable. That has an effect. That has an impact. Adjusted the damage to more closely match the visuals. Good. Tornadoes now push you, and I'm gonna go with closely match the visuals. That's good. Reduced how often these guys can use their invisibility skill. I don't care. Finish the game. I was gonna rationalize that, however, I realized that because here's the thing, right? Let's say they didn't do this, right? What would that really change? What would that really make a massive impact on? Because the subjectivity of the lightning storms targeting, where they telegraphed versus randomly, that's huge. What if this wasn't there? What if they didn't do this? What if this line didn't exist, right? Instead of changing telegraphed attack from random to predictable, we are just tweaking the percentage time that this skill is used on a creature. Finish the game. Just the frequency of some monsters such as prowling shades, the frequency, as in like spawn rate, finish the game. I don't care. I would rather have, this is complete honesty, I would rather have every enemy in the game be these two enemies and for the game to be finished in a month and then them adjust the frequency of some monsters. You know what I mean? I want a finished product, and everyone does. You didn't buy half a game, right? You bought the promise of finishing the game. You didn't buy Path of Exile 2 so that it would stay in development hell for 2 years, right? This is what they're doing. Val Zealots are now less likely to repeatedly... Okay, again, we are wasting everyone's time, and an investment here. Improve the visual effects. Perfect. Making changes. Good. Adjust the damage area. Match the visual effects. Good. Improve the visibility. This is so you can see the ability better. I'm assuming. Dealing less damage is a neutral for me. I give it that. I don't know about this. I'm going to say spontaneously is a good thing, and we'll move on. I hate this. I hate this with a passion. This is a balancing change. This is a waste of everyone's time. I want this monster to kill everyone. I want this to be the monster that you rage quit to. I want this to be the monster that kills you because it deals a million damage by looking at you. And I want this because I want them to finish the game. I don't want them to fix this. I want them to finish the game. If they fix this, they do this instead of something else. This is a omega -1. Yeah, screw it. -2. Reduced how often use their slam skill. Don't care, finish the game. Walking Goliaths now deal damage twice when they fall over. The slam now deals more damage in the center, less around the edges. Okay, so this is a neutral because there's a mechanic change at the end here, but ultimately we are damage tweaking, and I don't care. Reduce the distance from which Earnwalkers in the Trial of Succumbus are able to initiate their skill. We have also fixed an issue where they are not dealing damage correctly. They now deal more damage. Good. You fixed an issue, a bug, whatever you want to call it. No longer deal damage twice. Their projectile attacks, their melee attacks now deals physical instead of chaos. Mechanic change, good. Again, circling the drain. I mean, really at this point, I'm struggling to see the rationalization for a lot of these changes. Like adjusting the visual effects to be more like aligned, that's good. But like the density of monsters in Utsal has been reduced. Why? As much as I see this as doing this, I can recognize that this aspect here, these things are doing this. The reality is that even if they go up or they go down, ultimately it's going in a direction rather than going to the same point over and over again. So the player that experiences the density of the mobs in Utsal before they were reduced and after they were reduced, and if they change it back, there will be a different player experience. There will be a valuable change in the way that they experience the game. The game will have something different to offer versus this and this and this and this, which are just balance changes and tweaks and updates that actually don't give you more game. They don't change the game in the way that allows you to experience it in the game loop, right? Let's just make a simple game loop, right? Let's say kill monster, get gear. This change here, it might seem like this is a good thing, that dealing significantly less damage is an improvement, is a worthy change, is worth our time. Why is it not? Because it doesn't change the bottom line, right? This changes the bottom line because now we have monsters and we have more get gear, or we have less get gear. This is the game loop. The game loop has now become bigger, or it has become smaller, right? Because there are more monsters, there's more gear, there's less monsters, there's less gear. So you have a variation of the way that you can experience the game. What this does is it makes the game loop easier or harder, right? Say they buffed it instead of whatever, hypothetical, okay? This is evaluation. This is a subjective judgment. This is a fact. There are more monsters on the field. There are less monsters on the field. These are facts. This is a judgment call. This is it was too hard, right? We got to make it easier. No, you don't. You need to finish the game. I'm okay with doing these things because I recognize that this actually has impact on the game, right? This is the game, right? When you do something like this, all you're doing, you still have the game, and now what you have here is like a little thing like that, right? You see the difference between the size of these two things? There is more to experience. If all they did were changes like this, I would have no problems in the world. I would be arguing, but I wouldn't ultimately ever give it anything other than green, unless I was making a mistake, which can happen. However, that would be a mistake. The reality of this is they are doing this. They're going somewhere. Making the balance changes is just going nowhere. You're not finishing the game, right? That's the problem. That is the huge issue. All of these things in red. The density of monsters have been adjusted. Again, we have the same concept as before. Improve the telegraph. Good. Improve the telegraphing. Good. Chaos pulses and visuals improved. Good. Pending doom modifier now has more time before it explodes. Improve visuals. Good. Improve telegraphing. Good. Improve visuals. Good. Volatile plants more noticeable. Good. Improve visuals. Elemental explosions, cosmic minion deaths or those periodically cast by rare monster have their visual effects improved. That's a long way to get to the end, but it was improvement. The aura from this is now visible radius. Good. Energy shield modifiers of monsters are far more sensible, provide far more sensible levels of... And you tried to get me. That's a balancing change. Waste of time. Finish the game. I would rather have the monsters have insane shields and have a finished game, and then for them to go, oh, well, just do that tweak. Because here's the thing. They can do this tweak anytime between 0.1 and 1.0. The only difference is if we have 1.0, the game's finished, right? And then you can do all this little stuff. The problem with this is the game's not finished and you're doing all this little stuff instead of this. Because once it's done, it's done. The game's finished. You can do updates, you can do patches, you can do other content, whatever you want, expansions, but at least you have a finished game. If you don't have a finished game, you're doing all this little stuff down here, who cares? What are we all doing here? We're playing a half-baked pie. All right, moving on. Alrighty, and with that, we have come to the end of the video. Like the video or dislike it. If you agree or disagree, let me know why in the comments. This video is going to take quite a while to finish, and will be definitely broken up into many parts. So make sure to check out the other ones if you haven't already. I will theoretically be streaming at some point. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, Aramorian signing off.